music here. It's FDT by YG and Nipsey Hussle, by the way. That is the song of the day. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the live. Welcome to It Takes a Village, where we sit down with candidates from all over the country to discuss a wide range of issues brought by you, the viewer. I am your charming and furious host, Political Jess, and I'm not going anywhere. Speaking of our candidate, our guest tonight comes to us from the great or not so great state lately of Texas, running for Justice of the Peace in Tarrant County. Please give a warm and wonderful welcome to the incomparable Rodney Lee for JOP. Yes,
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us. So before we get started and taking questions from the village people, working title only, let's start off things with a little icebreaker, if you will. I always hated those things, but, you know, here we are. So you've heard of the camel or the straw that breaks the camel's back,
Sure.
right? So we are not being hit with straws. We are being hit with the whole damn camel. The whole camel all the time, constantly in the face. We are being hit with on a regular basis. So tell me, what was the camel that broke your back that inspired you to run? And if you could give us a little synopsis on who you are, what you're running for, and where you're running.
Okay, so I'm running for Tarrant County Justice of the Peace, Precinct 4. Yes, in the wonderful state of Texas. It's still wonderful. Some of the people are not. But in Tarrant County, which encompasses White Settlement, River Oaks, Lake Worth, Saginaw, Azle, and a portion of North Side. So what inspired me to run was simple. I got tired of all the rhetoric. You know, depending on what side you ran on, depending on who had a great idea. Campaigns and the political system has become so toxic that it has moved to an arena now where we can't even civilly disagree with one another. The way I put it is that my wife and I have been married now for well over 36 years. And we've had some very heated debates at times. But at the end of the day, I'm coming home, she's coming home. We still love each other, even if we have differences of opinions about a certain matter. That's where we've got to get back to. We have totally lost, in my opinion, we've totally lost respect for one another. And as a result of it, government has shut down and people are suffering while we're arguing. So that really got on my nerves. And we have lost the ideal of what it is to be a servant. So what I'm about is about serving. The justice of the peace is nothing more than a judicial servant. That's exactly what he is. And if we don't come back to what I call the Mayberry style of just representing folks, and I may be aging myself, go look it up. Then what we're going to find ourselves getting into is a dictatorship. Both locally, federally, it's going to happen. So guys, if you're looking at me, hear me clearly. You need to get to the polls. You will always hear me say that. I will be redundant in saying that. You need to get to the polls because the only way to really 100% defeat this enemy who is coming in trying to take over our political system, and I'm not talking partisan at this point, I'm talking about personnel. The only way to overcome that is to vote. Please, you can continue to march. I don't disagree with that. You can continue to protest. But as I often say, if that is where you end with the protest and the march, go to 24-hour fitness. You'll get better results from there.
That's good advice. I love it. Awesome. So can you tell me a little bit about the Justice of the Peace? How is that different from a judge? Is it the same thing?
So, no. Well, it is and it's not. So one of the things that blows everyone's mind, which is why I want to get young people involved and really start grooming some young people who may have an interest in something like this, is that all you have to have is a high school diploma. Now,
Really?
understand, I have a master's degree in education administration. I have a bachelor's degree in applied legal studies. I was a certified paralegal. I was going on to become a lawyer, and for personal reasons, decided to take a different route. So, but all you have to have is a high school diploma and be elected. No one grows up saying, "Hey, you know what? I want to be a justice of the peace." I've
Nope.
never heard that. But if you really do your research, and I'm speaking to you young people, I hope it's some young people listening. If you do your research, you will find that the justice of peace is very impactful. So, what are some of the things some of our responsibilities? One, we deal with evictions. That simply means that if there is a landlord or a tenant out there, in this particular case, a landlord who says, you know what, this person not paying their bills, they're doing da da da, then they file in my courtroom. As a result, I have to weigh the evidence based on what's presented before me and decide, is this someone that should be evicted? If you are a tenant and you find yourself in a situation where the landlord is not owning up to their responsibilities, you have the right to file a case in my courtroom. We deal with what I call, the layman's term is hardship license. But really, basically, what it is, it's an ability. If you had your license suspended, now you must have had a license. If you've had your license suspended for whatever reason, but you still need to have drive the car for essential duties, then you can petition my court for what is called an occupational license. That allows you to still continue with essential duties such as go to work, take the children to school, pick them up, what have you. It is not for you to drive to Aunt Mamie's house and get some apple pie. So that's another thing. Then we also deal with up to $25,000, civil suits. We deal with tow hearings. So let's say for those who may be familiar with Fort Worth, Tarrant County, what have you, let's say you're downtown in Sundance Square, but for whatever reason you parked in the wrong place. All of a sudden, your car gets towed to Saginaw, White Settlement, River Oaks, Lake Worth, Azle, a portion of the north side. Guess what? You have to come. If I'm the judge, you got to come see me. And if you feel like it was an illegal tow, then there we go. But if not, then you got to pay that fine. We deal with credit card fraud. So I know there are times when there are persons out there say, "Oh, I'll get to it when I want to. Or I'll get to it when I can." And there's these letters that come in the mail that says, "Hey, you've now been given to blah blah blah. We need you to pay this credit card," and you just continue to ignore it. So let's say Mastercard all of a sudden, or whoever, Visa, whoever, they filed in my courtroom and they say, "Hey, this person hadn't paid his bills. They're in arrears." Okay, and of course, you didn't think too much of it because it was only $50, and so now I give judgment for for Mastercard, Visa, what have you. What you don't understand is that there is some interest tax to that. Because there's interest tax to that, guess what? Let's say you wait 3-4 years, and it's not. I'm not. There are people who've done this 3-4-5 years. Now that $50 has grown into something crazy. But there's a judgment out there on you. We also deal with truancy. Now I'm currently a truancy officer, and so when I tell people that, and I'm a retired juvenile probation officer. Look, I've had well over 30 years of courtroom experience. No more. That's just the straight fact of the matter. What ends up happening is that many times I unfortunately have to present cases before the judge where parents are coming in, they're ill-equipped. Now, the thing that I do that I feel is extremely different is I advise them on, here's what's about to happen if you don't come to school. Here's what's about to happen, mom, dad, if you don't come and meet with me, and we together devise a plan to allow your child to get this education. Because I know education now for this generation is an abstract theory. I'll explain that later if I'm asked a question. But that's another thing we do. And then guess what? We also deal with child support. So it's important that you all understand that the thing that we have to do is make absolutely sure that you are getting engaged, because this is a local judge who has the opportunity and the ability to affect your day-to-day lifestyle. That's what's going on here. So that's the duties in just a nutshell about the Tarrant County Justice of the Peace.
You get to marry people though too, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. That's
Like
the
that's
one
a
that
big
everybody.
one, right? Everybody loves
That's the
that.
one everybody. Yeah, we do marry folks. I tend to forget because that's the one that everybody. Oh, you marry people. Yeah, we do that, and they forget about the others. Now I forgot about that when I told you about the others. So
It's
yeah,
important. Yeah, it's great. It's good to get people together, you know? That's
definitely.
great. Okay. So while we're waiting for people in the chat to be brave enough to venture into the box to ask you a question, let me ask you what you were talking about before. You were talking about your thoughts on education. Let's hear it.
So um, I have a bunch of mantras. It's funny. Uh, you know, one of my mantras is simply this: the more education you have, the more money you make, the less you work. On the flip side, the less education you have, the less money you make, the more you work. So when I'm speaking to students, I tell them, and I said to you, I have a master's degree, and I'm also an adjunct professor at Tarrant County College Northwest. So when I speak to students, the first thing I do is I put on the board 199 out of 199. And man, I get all these amazing answers. I'm like, what is that? It's 100%. What is that? You were perfect. And I mean, I just get these beautiful answers. Then I stand before them. I said, now, what if I was to tell you that was my class ranking when I got my bachelor's degree? Now everybody's looking at me like, what? I'm like, yeah, I was looking at the back of everybody's head when I got my bachelor's degree. But on the flip side, when I got my master's degree, I was 3.8 out of 4.0. And I was ticked off that I didn't get the 4.0. Me and the professor had some words, not heated, but we exchanged words about why I didn't get an A in that class. So I shared with them what is the difference. The difference is that you have to understand the game because college is just a game. I know people who have college degrees who are struggling. I know people who don't have college degrees who are not struggling. So what is this thing about education there? And I share with them education is real simple. It's about the exposure to knowledge and the ability to acquire skills. So I have buddies who do not have college degrees, but they are educated. And the way I say it is simply this: who in their right mind would allow an uneducated mechanic to work on their car? Your car won't run. Or who would allow an uneducated electrician to work on something in your house or blow your house up? And I have a real true story. My buddy, who I won't name his name, he has an electric business. So I went to go in to put in something simple, a heating element. I was like, oh, I can do this. So I went to put in, I pulled it out, and there was no problem. I went to put it back in, and I put it in upside down. I said, oh, I did it wrong. So I pulled it out again and went to put it back in. This time I heard that kick, 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 doom. I flew across the room.
Oh no.
My wife took me to the doctor, and I smelled like fumes. The doctor comes in, he's checking my feet and all that stuff. I'm fine. And he says to me, he says, sir? I said, yes, yes, sir. Are you an electrician? I said, no. He shakes his hand like, you know that look when your mama look at you like, you idiot.
No.
Yeah, one of them.
I'm
And
familiar with
walked out
that
the room.
book.
I'm looking at my wife like, did he just do me that way? So I tell my buddy, he said, hey man, call on me next time. I said, yeah. But I use that story to tell everyone, and I make good money. Don't get it wrong. I'm not
Mhm.
running this race. So I'm trying to get more money. Look, I make enough money that if I retire tomorrow, my wife and I are gonna be fine. That's not why I'm running. But I said that to say this. I use those examples because I want everyone to understand a college degree is not the recipe for success. If you get a college degree, whatever it is you have to do, you need to understand that when you show up on my job and ask to work for my company, guess what? I'm going to be sitting there and you have to convince me that you are the person that I need to hire. The college degree, all it does is get you in the door. It's up to you to stay in that door. So what I tell people is get as much education for the lifestyle that you want. If you don't want nothing, don't get it. So wherever you want to pursue, and what I'm finding out is that blue collar workers, man, when I come to some of these prominent neighborhoods and I'm playing golf because I'm an avid golfer, guess what? I'm seeing some paint business guys who own paint businesses staying in these homes as well. And I'm like, wow, man. So don't don't think. Now that was my pursuit because I'm not the dude that wants to work outside. I don't want to deal with the cold. I want to be in the office talking to people and doing what I have to do. That's
Mm-hmm.
my strength. But that's not everybody's strength. And
Right.
so I have a daughter who goes to A&M. I have a son who's really pursuing his insurance business. Both are doing well. Both of them are extremely smart, but there's a difference. One is going to come out with a college degree. The other one will come out with a certificate. Get as much education as you need for the lifestyle that you want.
I think that's really
That's why.
important.
Oh, it is. But that's the reason why this position as well is very important because unfortunately, there have been times, and there will be times this year, where I had to stand before the judge and say, Your Honor, I'm sorry. We have exhausted all of our efforts. And I'm speaking as a school district. We've exhausted all of our efforts with this young person. Now it's time for them to get a GED. But understand, prior to having that conversation, I have spoken to the parents, I've spoken to the students, we've given them opportunities. There are some who, quite frankly, just will not make it in a traditional educational system. And it's not because they're not smart, it's just because there are a plethora of ways to get your education. If the pandemic didn't teach us anything, it taught us one thing. There's more than one way to get your education. I just say get your education.
I have PTSD from the pandemic because I was trying to get a kindergartner started on a laptop during the shutdown in California. Ah, so yes, I completely understand what you're saying. So the chat, Kenneth Morgan Aguilera in the chat, congressional candidate for Texas 12th District, by the way, would like to ask Mr. Lee, what are your thoughts on the government shutdown?
I think it's tragic. I mean, let's really put this thing into perspective, okay? Uh, you have a Republican-controlled House, Senate, President. We shut down. Why are we shutting down? Now, while they're shutting down, they're going to be okay. Why are they going to be okay? Because they have the money to last this thing out.
Well,
But
they still get their paychecks too.
let's talk about the persons who are not in that position. So somebody who I'm a veteran, somebody who's coming in who says, "Hey, man, what's going on with this?" Or the persons at the airport now who are working for free. Yeah, they're going and the way they talk about this, oh, don't worry, because they're gonna get all this back pay. Okay, but if I'm a landlord and you're renting from my home, how long do I have to wait? Or if little Johnny needs some cereal, well, I'm gonna go into the grocery store Kroger and say, "Hey, don't worry, can I get this on credit? Because they're gonna pay me in 3 months." What we're not doing is we're arguing with one another, but guess who's left out? The citizens who we're supposed to be serving. What's going on is that we're talking about cutting health care for some people who, quite frankly, they're having issues here. We have a situation out here where there's a study that says, hey, we can break into see what's going on with this Alzheimer and the mental health situation. But now you cut out. So what are we gonna do with that? And I know you're saying, well, what does that have to do with you? It has everything to do with me because guess what? The justices of the peace have to make judgments on mental health. There are some parents out there, there are some persons out there who, quite frankly, are trying to grasp and hold on as tight as they can to their independence, but mentally, they're just at a point right now where they cannot do it. So they have to come into my courtroom so that they can get them and say, hey, we just need to help them out. And I have to provide a judgment on that. But while we're cutting all this stuff, the people who are hurting are not the ones we're talking about. At the end of the day, I go back to my original statement. This thing is about service. It's about service. How can I serve you? What I said, I'm promoting right now a town hall that I'm trying to get off the ground. And this is what I said to candidates. I said, look, I don't mean to be harsh, But if you can't answer two questions, you're not invited. The two questions I need you to be able to answer is number one, what can you do for the people in the office that you're seeking? Number two, why you? If you can't answer those two questions, you're not invited.
That's fair.
Reason? Because I don't need someone to come and give me a bunch of fluff. People are dying because of fluff. No, we
Hmm.
got to talk about the real deal. And the real deal is that they don't trust us. And the reason why I say us now, because I hate been calling myself a politician, but I'm running in politics. They don't trust us. So we have to go to where they are and have real conversations. There are sometimes I get stumped and be like, ooh, that's a good question. Ooh, I hadn't thought about that. I'm not gonna try to filibuster it. I will be honest, say, you know what? Give me a minute. Let me look at that. Let me do some research because you caught me off guard with this.
Hmm.
Should I always be on guard for every question? The novice would say yes. The reality says I can't be. I don't
Yeah,
want to
I
be
think that's
disrespectful.
fair. Well, you don't, the thing that people don't trust are the polished politicians. People like for my district, Craig Goldman. He's a polished lifetime politician. He doesn't care about me. He doesn't care about us. He cares about the next election cycle and making sure that, everything is in line for him to keep his tower in the middle of downtown Fort Worth. So that you're not a polished politician and you don't have a immediate scripted answer for every single question that comes up on your plate, I think is absolutely wonderful and needed and refreshing. So, so take that with you, please, because I happen
Uh,
to absolutely love that. So,
Now, and I will tell people that I am very meticulous on being prepared. Believe it or not, I'm an introvert. I
what?
love, no, I really am. My wife will tell you.
Your
I
karaoke videos did not show that, sir. I'm just saying.
I promise you, I'm an introvert. Here's how I prepare, and maybe I'm sharing too much. Here's how I prepare for me. If it's an 8 o'clock meeting, you can get in the morning. You can guarantee I've been up since 5:30. I'm going through my mind. I'm doing all these exercises to generate some energy. And when you see me, it's like, hey, how y'all doing? I'm glad to see you. But then when I get back in my car, I'm back to Clark Kent again because I'm like, I don't want to be bothered with you. So I jokingly tell, because my wife will tell you, she'll be like, boy, he don't talk much. Uh, I, I jokingly tell people, I like people, but I don't like people. Meaning, I like you, but I want to be by myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't be that way. And so there are times when I come and I'm giving you the best that I can give. But it's been trust me, when you see me, I've been up hours going through this in my mind. Okay, this is how you got to do. This is how you got to say this. Come on, you got to do this. And I'm thinking of every scenario that I possibly can think of, so that I look like, hey, he's pretty smart. He's not really a buffoon. So
And thank goodness for that, because we have so many.
uh,
We have so many of those running around Texas here. You know,
we do. And we have a lot up in Tarrant County.
yeah.
I'll just say that. I won't name names, but yeah.
So, I want to know if we're talking about Tarrant County now. What is your stance on the recent proposed overhaul of the Tarrant County criminal court system?
I think it's crazy.
Um, yeah, it's faced quite a bit of backlash, but I would love to get your thoughts on it.
So one of the questions that I was asked, I don't remember where I was asked. They asked me what I think about the cash bond situation.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go again. It's a situation that helps the prominent but penalizes the poor.
Yeah.
Because let's talk real here. Johnny comes in, he got caught up in whatever you want to say. He has to get a bail bond to get him out. The average citizen does not have that amount of money stored away somewhere where they can just say, okay, here you go, and they get to go home. what ends up happening, sometimes grandma, whatever, puts her house up so that she can get the one that she loved out of jail. If she fails to pay that, now she has a judgment on her house, which means her house can be taken. Those are real situations. And then never mind the fact that, and again, I'm not speaking against any of these persons, but they can't afford, in many cases, the high dollar attorney. And so they get the person who is really trying to get his name. And again, I'm not speaking against these persons because they're good enough. Somebody's got to start somewhere.
Sure. Public
But
defenders.
sure. But the issue comes down to simply this: representation. Our criminal justice system, it's good in theory, but practicality, it's not. Because one of the things that happened, and this is not an ethnic thing, but it was presented in this way, and I'm trying to figure out a way to so it's just not about race. But one of the things that one of my law professors did, he came in and he said, "What if a police officer came in and he pointed at me, because I'm a pretty hefty gentleman, I'm 6 feet, played football, 200 plus, what have you, a menacing presence at times." My daughter jokingly told me, she said, "Dad, you have a mean resting face." Didn't know what that meant until yeah, so I started working on it. But anyway, he said, "What if a police officer came in and just took Rodney into custody? What would y'all say?" And again, not making it racial, but you can see the divide. Some said, "Well, we would ask, why are you arresting him?" Others would say, "Well, he must have had a good reason." The point I'm making is that there are things, and again, God, I'm representing everyone. That's the reason why that's the reason why you will always hear me say it's justice for all, not just for some. But we have to deal reality as well. The reality is simply this: is that there are certain things I can do and say that others can't, and vice versa. There are certain things they can say and do that I can't say. So where's the paradox? So we've got to get to a point where we come with a commonality of language, just basic decency. What I tell my students is that when I'm on the golf course, I'm speaking in broken English. I'm doing all, hey boy, well we're doing all kinds of. You would think, well, he don't know how to speak English. But when I'm up before people, I tell them I know how to command the King's English. So one of the things I do with my very own kids, I'm like, "Excuse me, what did you just say?" Because if we're speaking officially, I need you using King's English.
Mm-hmm.
Period. But if we're just hanging out and we're doing what we do, you can use all kind of colloquialisms. I don't care about that. But I want you to be able to present yourself in a way that says, "I deserve to be respected." So what I told my son, I said, if you ever stop, and mind you, I have cousins and family members who are police officers and lawyers, so I'm good. But what I told him, I said, "Son, daughter, if you're ever stopped by a police officer, I don't want to see what I see on YouTube. You challenging them. Go ahead and go along with whatever they're asking. Call me when given the opportunity, and trust and believe. If your rights were violated, we're going to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to deal with it efficiently. But what I do not want to do is I don't want to go with making sure that we have to go to your funeral. I tried to find another way of saying it, but quite honestly,
Yeah.
I don't want to go to your funeral because you stood for your rights, and I'm sitting here crying, and now I'm looking, no, I need my son. No, I need my daughter. And so one of the things I want to do as a justice of the peace as well is I want to bring in other persons beside myself so we can talk about the real talk. There are people out there who cannot stand police officers. Now understand here, I 100% support police officers. I told you I got family members who are police officers. I have
Same.
family members who are lawyers. I have friends who are detectives. There is absolutely no way you would ever hear me say, I do not support the blue. I support them 100%. But what I also support is citizens have the rights to know what you are capable of doing and not capable of doing. See, the fear comes when I know what you are assigned to do, I can hold you accountable.
Mm-hmm.
When I don't know, that's when fear comes. This mess that's going on with ICE, come on, really seriously? You know why it's
It's,
happening? Because the right people haven't been affected.
yeah.
I'm not saying open our borders. I'm not saying, hey, everybody come as you will. But unless you're an American Indian, we're all immigrants.
We're all immigrants. Yeah.
So let's just keep it real. So if we start speaking in those terms, I think if we start respecting the culture of, let me give you one more example. And I hope, stop me if I'm going too long.
You're fine.
I was doing a home visit one day with some buddies in my job, and I went to this Hispanic house, and the father or the gentleman was working underneath the hood. The woman, the mother, she spoke to me. So of course she spoke to me. I stepped to her.
Mm-hmm.
He comes off and under the hood, and he looks at her. She shuts down. She's giving me information. I get back to the office. I said, hey, man, and I describe what happened. He said, man, you disrespected that man. I said, whoa, 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 what are you talking about? Disrespected that man. He said, did you speak to him? I said, he was under the hood. She spoke to me. He said, I don't care what she did. You go to him. Now, when I heard that, I said, hey, man, we got to have a culture. I need a cultural class because I deal with all cultures. I deal with some persons who's from Somalia. I deal with Mexicans. I deal with Puerto Ricans. I deal with Asians. And I'm sitting there like, okay, there's a culture. And then, of course, my own people, Black, there's cultural things that we must know. So I have to respect your culture. I don't have to always agree with everything in your culture, but I at least got to respect it. As your justice of the peace, no one gets a preferential treatment. Nobody. No one gets preferential treatment.
Right.
But think about this. How wonderful would it be if I at least understood? Well, it doesn't mean that I'm going to rule in your favor because I understand your culture, but maybe I could provide some advice to say, hey, this is why I made this up.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's a respect for the law rather than a fear. As I told people all the time, I don't want you to fear me. I just want to serve you. I don't need you fearing me. You see me at the gas station? Hey, Judge Lee, hopefully. Hey, Judge Lee, hey, what's going on, man?
It's going to
You
happen.
see me at Kroger? How you
Manifest.
doing? Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? How you doing? Because I go to the same football games. I cheer the same golf players because I love playing golf. I get ticked off when Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones do some of the same stupid stuff they always do, but I'm still trying to be a fan. Y'all forgive me, pray for me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I do.
so there are
Own
things,
me up.
oh man, it's hard,
It's hard.
But, so I'm a citizen like you all, but I have a responsibility. I want to serve you all. That's the reason why I said with the town hall, we're trying to do a town hall in White Settlement, Texas. Listen, I wasn't joking about that. That's not a political ploy. I don't even have an agenda. I just said, let's find a place, let's come together, ask me the question.
And talk.
And I'm going to bring candidates with me. And those candidates, I said, look, don't come with the fluff. If they ask you a question you don't know, I don't need fluff. I need y'all to just talk about it. Police officers, I called everybody out. I want clergy there. I want police officers there. I want teachers there. I want Republicans there, Democrat, Independent. Look, listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to come because guess what? As I often say, and it sounds arrogant, but I don't mean, and my grandmother always says, it's a sad dog that won't wag his own tail. Listen here, I'm the real deal. So I'm telling you, come on, let's go. Let's talk. I'm not scared of anyone. Let's talk. I need you to vote. I need you to get excited. And I need you to get excited about me.
When you are running as a justice of the peace, is it a political position? Like, do you run as a Democrat or a Republican, or is it like the school board where you're just running?
No, you have to run. It's partisan. So I'm running as a Democrat because I best align with Democrats. Now, I have heard there are some Republicans who I spoke with who we agree, but because of the letter behind my name, they said, well, man, you almost have it. I had a
Oh, I
clerk.
hate that.
I spoke. This is a true story. I spoke to a preacher, and we talked for 30 minutes. 28 minutes, He was like, wow, yeah, we were agreeing on everything. And then he asked me, because I never present myself as, hey, y'all, I'm Rodney Lee, I'm running as a Democrat. No, I'm Rodney Lee running for Justice of the Peace Precinct 4. Now, I'm not fearful of telling you I'm running on the Democratic Party, but that's not my focus. My focus is service. Remember I said that, justice for all, not just for some. So we had a conversation. About the 28th, 29th minute, he asked me, he said, man, what party are you running with? I said, I'm running on the Democratic Party. He's like, oh, man, you almost had me, man. He said, you sound like a Republican. So I asked him, I said, really? I said, well, let me ask you a couple of questions before we get off phone. He said, sure. Caring about your children, that's a Democrat or a Republican thing? You're like, huh? I said, no, I'm just asking questions. Want to improve your family standard. Is that a Republican or Democratic thing? I asked him several questions like that. And finally, he said, well, I see where you're going with this. I've often publicly said, now listen to me, I don't understand why any judicial position is either Democrat or Republican. Because when you come in my courtroom, I could give 2 cents about what party you under. It's whoever presents their case. I need everyone to feel as though they have an equal opportunity to have their case heard and have a fair chance to win their case.
I think
Period.
that's definitely fair. I don't think
Hi,
that.
I'm gonna introduce myself. I'm
Hey, Bacon, how's it
46,
going?
Kamala Harris. I'm voting for Kamala Harris. From California, and hey, I was an immigrant, and I am a disabled person. I have a question for you. Since what is he running for, and what's district?
He's running
Yeah,
for Justice of the Peace in Tarrant
sorry.
County, Texas. He's running for Justice of the Peace in Tarrant County, Texas.
What? Okay. I want to ask the question. This is, what will you do for immigrant community, and how would you protect immigrants to come here and don't be afraid to come here and to live their life?
It's a very good question. So let me put things in perspective, though. Uh, yeah, I thought I lost you. So let me put things in perspective. Uh, Number one, my role as a Tarrant County Justice of the Peace Precinct 4 does not directly affect immigration and what you just asked me. However, having said that, I'm big on education. Good noise, okay.
Sorry, that
Uh,
was my little puzzle piece that had to be moved.
oh, okay.
TikTok.
So
Sorry.
with
Not
that
the
being
TikTok
though,
shop.
with that being said, uh, immigrant situation is everyone should come and feel safe. Period. Now I know that sounds like a very political, broad answer. What do I mean by that? That if you've gone through the processes of being here legally, which means whether if you're still in that process, whatever it may be, wherever you are, there should not be the threat at any point of ICE coming into your church, coming into your homes, coming on your jobs, going to restaurants to apprehend you to take you back across the border or wherever it is they're going to take you. That should never be the case. I'm running for an office that is all about process, period. So that if you've done what the law requires, then we need to be patient enough to see where this thing goes. What's happening is that this whole move, when you really look at it, is all about fear. That's what it's about. It's about fear. It's about someone feeling as though, hey, I'm not going to be relevant anymore. Are you crazy? And I don't mean to sound just so cynical, but we got to stop for a minute and think. Quit going off the 30-second sound bites. It all sounds good until you do the research. Think about it for a minute. And again, I'm not positioning this as a racial issue, but notice something. You think the Hispanics are the only persons and I say that with due respect, who's come across the border? some who come across illegally. Oh, so we don't have a west side, we don't have a north side. That I mean, come on now, let's just think now. If you're gonna do it consistently. So then you have to ask the question, what is really at stake here? You think that the only place that there's some violence are only in democratic cities? Come on, let's think for a minute. If we take away, and this is a strategy that I would employ anybody to use, take the parties out of it. So if you're a Republican, okay, cool. Take off your R for a minute. If you're a Democrat, take off your D and listen to the ideal. If the ideal is good, does it really matter? That's the question you need to ask yourself. So if your disagreement is because of who presented it, then now you know where the problem is. So you got to think for a minute.
Well, thank you. And what you call this? I agree with you because I came here with I'm gonna explain how I came here. I came here in '97 with a permanent resident visa. The process is so freaking long because there's like a lot of backlogs on our embassies. There's tons of paperwork that is sitting on those um those uh those 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 desks that their sponsor is unalive because of old age or disease or so on and so forth. We need like everybody in our side. I'm a democratic. I voted Democrat Democratic Party because I believe in human rights and human dignity. This rhetoric that the right or the Republicans said, "Oh, come here, quote unquote, legally." How? There's a lot of paperwork need to be done, and it is expensive. And if you came here to better your life, to have a greater, good future, and you spend like $30,000 or $40,000 just to have a quote unquote to have a chance,
Yeah, it's rough.
this country is not freaking great.
So
Never
and
has.
let me say, um, and I hear what you're saying. Here's the problem. We didn't vote. We didn't vote. And I'm not trying to point fingers. We didn't vote.
Yep.
See, you got to understand something. Um, I'm a big historian, but I remember. Let me breathe for a minute. I remember my grandfather. This man was one of the wisest men I ever known. This man was a sharecropper. But this man, when white people would walk down the block, he had to step off the sidewalk. He didn't hate white folks. This is a man who, as a sharecropper, loved the man who land he was staying on. Not because he had a defeatist mentality. This man was very wise. Uh, but there's some reality to things that happen. I'm not saying that we necessarily, with full arms, embrace the point at you finger type thing. I'm saying embrace the history that exists so that we know we don't go back to it. He was very dignified. Whenever he went to church, he suited up and made sure his tie looked very debonair, made sure his shoes. And here's the one thing he told me: always keep your head up. When you speak to somebody, you look them in the eye. When you shake their hand, you give a firm handshake. You say, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, even if they're younger than you. When you are paid to do a job, you do the job and you do it well. These are things he taught me. My father, who had an 8th grade education, smartest man that I ever known, 8th grade education now. You could tell him something, he would figure out how to fix it. but he only had an 8th grade education. I have 180 acres because of this man right here. 180 acres, ladies and gentlemen,
That's a lot of
because of this
acres.
man's education. So I don't buy into this theory that we can't come together. When you look at some of the inventions that came into the to America, we're talking about the lasso. Let's talk about the cowboy, which is funny. Most of the stuff that the cowboy uses came from Mexico. So again, guys, we've got to embrace each other's culture. I have a buddy, and I don't know. I hope I'm not killing myself, but I don't have time for fluff. I have a buddy who stays in Wiley, Texas, Caucasian gentleman. And so he used to brag to me, man, I make the meanest barbecue chicken, da da da. I'm like, oh Lord, yeah, okay, here we go.
I was fighting words.
Yeah. So I go to his house, and they live in Wiley. So I go to his house, and we're sitting there, and we're good friends. We're very good friends. And his wife is Cajun. I didn't know the difference between Cajun and Creole until I became introduced to them. So he says, man, she makes some mean etouffee. I was like, oh my Jesus. So it's my buddy. So I take my wife and have my kids with her. I said, say, man, I almost called his name. I don't want to call his name. But I said, say, that is some, man, boy, that's some good chicken. He like, uh-huh. Then she came out, never had shrimp etouffee. She came out with this shrimp etouffee, and I was sitting there like, girl. They had the dogs, and I was sitting up there. I went straight country. I'm rubbing on the dogs, and I'm sitting there like, I'm in hog heaven. We got to talking to one another, and we started appreciating each other's culture. Now, we had never broke bread together. Who knows where this relationship would have turned out to be? So why am I telling you that? That's because relationships take time. I know many of you who are looking at me now, like, oh, he's just another politician just saying off some good stuff. Well, go look at the history of the stuff that I've done. Don't just take my word. So let's talk about that. I'm big into making sure we hold people accountable. That's why Star Telegram wrote an article about an endeavor that I did in Arlington ISD. What did I do? Well, I helped spearhead us having court on that campus. What did it do for our campus? It did amazing things. Number one, those students who were truant, it let them see that there was an active relationship with the judge, the school administrators, myself included, and the parents. I read a book that talked about how if you really want to affect the community, if you really want to affect the community in educationally, you have to have 3 factors in place, and they have to work together. Number one, you have to have the community factor. So that's the precinct cell. They bring the parents and what have you, they bring them to the court that's held on that campus. You have to have the school factor. Administrators have to buy into this fact that not everybody learns the same way. Then you have to have the student-teacher factor. What does that mean? That means there has to be a relationship there. You can't learn from somebody that you hate. So one of the things I did when I was training some counselors, I showed them, I said, hey, we put a whole bunch of stuff in different backpacks. Some were heavy, some were light. And I had counselors and teachers pick them up. And they were like, some of them were heavy, some of them said they were real light. And I said, hey, start taking stuff out that backpack. Now, we're a Title I school, which means we have some impoverished kids that come to our school. I said, look here, you're trying to teach this kid, and this kid got all this stuff in his backpack. It takes 5 minutes to find that out. When teachers are valuable, they are extremely valuable. They're the only occupation that touches everybody else's occupation.
Yep.
But it takes 5 minutes to find out what's going on. What does that have to do with a judge? Because at the end of the day, I want to have a partnership. I'm not going to be in education, so I'm not trying to be in education. I'm not a social worker. I am a judicial official, period. But I need to join forces with others because what we want to have is justice for all and not for some. So I know I sound like a soapbox, but I'm really passionate about this.
And I,
That's
wa-
why I say I'm the real deal.
and I want to say thank you for that, and thank you for protecting immigrants, by the way. And Jeff, I'm still here, and I'm gonna drop down real quick.
Okay, thank you so much, Bacon.
Okay, thank you.
Amazing. So, okay, so I have got another question for you. You talk a lot about access.
Sure.
That is something that you are very passionate about in changing how the judicial system works to give people access. Can you talk more about what that means to you, why it is so important to you, and how it came up in your
So
life?
the last census that I looked at, it's been a while. When I ran the first time, is when I really looked at it. There were about 51%, give or take a few, number percentage of persons were laborers, which means if they come to my court, that's a loss of income. What I want to do is make it accessible to everyone by doing this, having night court. Now, of course, I'm not reckless, so I have to go in and see how much of a demand is it for that. Right now, I believe there is, based on just the census, which is why I want to have a committee of persons who we talk to. I want to know, hey guys, what is it that you need? After I fully disclose to you all of the responsibilities of the justice of the peace, what do you need? I have a gentleman who I became friends with. Again, I don't want to get into names right now. Who owns a CDL trucking company school.
Mm-hmm.
I said, hey man, if I can work this deal out, which I wasn't able to at the time, because I just didn't have time to get to all of the stakeholders. Would you be willing to come or have a class over here? He said, sure. There are persons in there who, let's just be honest, they're not going to go to college. I don't believe in this theory or this stating, oh, you're not college material. What I tell people, if you can breathe, you college material. Really. So it ain't about that. It's whether or not you want to utilize college, or if you need college.
Mm-hmm.
But I had this gentleman, and he said, yeah, man, I would be more than willing to. There's nothing that says I cannot do stuff like that. That's what I want to do because I don't want you to come to my courtroom intimidated. I am not trying to intimidate you. I'm trying to serve you. Part of the service means, unfortunately, there will be people who get evicted. Unfortunately, there will be people who get GEDs. Unfortunately, there will be people whose loss will go against them. Isn't it better when you have somebody who is not intimidating? Now you know it's not personal. It's just business.
Right.
That's what I want to have happen. I want everyone who needs to have access to that courtroom to feel as though when I step into Judge Lee's courtroom, I know at least, if nothing else, I'm going to be treated with dignity and respect, and I have a fighting chance to win this because I don't have a preconceived idea about what you're presenting until you present it.
And most
So
of the
that's what.
people, yeah, and most of the people that are coming to see you are coming to see you in like really awful, unless you're marrying them, of course. But
Of
they're
course,
coming
and
to
that's
you on some of the worst times they've come across.
yes,
So
sir.
losing that income, that having to move their whole lives around for a whole bunch of issues is already stressful enough, you know. So I love that you want to expand access to people, especially working people who need it. So,
To me, it's mandatory
mhm.
because this office is a community court. Why call it a community court when it can't serve the community?
Yeah.
That's kind of, and I don't need a backlog of stuff on my docket because guess who controls the docket? I do. So that's the issue. That's the reason why I want to have community events even after I'm elected because somebody said to me, "Are you just trying to be popular?" Which I thought was really silly answer,
That's a weird
hard
take.
question. Because think about it for a minute. So the person that's less popular, that's the one that wins the election. That
Yeah.
makes sense, right?
It's a
Okay.
popular,
Yeah,
it's a contest, right? Like,
exactly what it is.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying to be popular. What I'm not trying to be is famous.
Hmm.
But yeah, I am trying to be popular.
That's the goal. Popularity
There is a distinct.
popularity is how votes work, Dexter says. Yes, that is how it works.
It is a distinct difference. So please understand. I'm not trying to be famous. I'm not trying to be rich. I said to you before, and I'm not saying this to be arrogant. Guys, if I walk off the scene tomorrow, my family and I are going to be okay.
Yeah.
Why? Because I put stuff in place, thank God, that I put stuff in place already that financially we're going to be okay. So that's not why I'm doing this. I'm not motivated by money, but I will say this now, you got to pay me. My time does mean something.
Sure.
So don't, but that's not my motivation.
You have a servant's heart, and I can tell that. I knew that about you when I first saw, when Kenneth first introduced me to you. I knew that you had a servant's heart, and I feel like as a community, as a national community, we have definitely lost a lot of that. We are so centered in immediate gratification, and we're all in our own silos and
Yes.
our own little universes, and if it doesn't affect me, I don't care, and I need instant gratification right now, and we're not worried about what our neighbors are going through anymore.
And the result of that has come to the fact that now we have education system that's not serving our persons in the way that, and everybody's upset.
Yeah.
So now we're thinking that the save all will be privatizing education. Okay, that's what you thought about the jail too, and yet it's exploding
And now we have a for-profit prison system that's throwing people in jail to make money.
because
Yeah.
it's persons that are not speaking one to the other.
Yeah.
So again, I say to people, if your ideal is that great, put it on the ground. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Put it against opposing ideas. You can't. There were things that I thought of that I said, man, that's a great idea. And then I had another person come in and say, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about intricate details? And then I'm sitting there like, oh, that ain't all that great idea now.
I take it back.
We're not talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to me, Republicans. Some of you have some amazing ideas. Some of you really do. I go online and say it. The reason why I'm done running Democrat, let's just be frank, straight to the point, is because I do not fully align with some of the things that's going on in your party. But there are some of you individuals out there that are straight up amazing. All I
That's
say to
true.
you is have the courage. Let's talk. Let's have the courage to talk to one another. Because I
Yeah.
guarantee you, at the end of the day, if we remove the D and the R, and this is just a fantastic solution, I'm going to implement it
Yeah.
because the people are my focus.
I can tell you that I don't know where you stand on this whole thing. I would imagine you have some thoughts and feelings about this, but I really honestly don't see how putting the Ten Commandments in our elementary schools is something that is going to solve anybody's problems as far as education goes.
Let me say
So,
this to you. People don't know this about me, and I'm not hiding anything about me. I'm an ordained minister. Let me put that out there first. I'm on my church's board. Matter of fact, October the 14th is a sorry plug. I'm October the 14th. I'm going to be preaching at my church. Now, I
hey,
said all that before I say what I'm getting ready to say.
okay,
You
I'm
cannot,
buckling in.
you cannot govern morality. You cannot govern morality. Because at the end of the day, if the only place you have the Ten Commandments is on the wall, take them down.
Yeah,
Because here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. How can you call yourself a Christian, but you celebrate the death of certain people and mourn the death of others? Okay, that's what Christ would do, right? Yeah, right.
mm,
How is it that you're okay with looking at a baby who's crying because, man, milk is just too doggone high. Oh, that's what Christ would do? Or how is it that even though you disagree with this person, you vilify them to the point of they can't get services from you now? Oh, that's what Christ would do, right? I'm speaking to the Christians out there, because I'm a Christian. The last time I remember, if you read your book, and I'm not trying to make this religious, but the last time I read the book, I remember Jesus going to the place where people said, hey, what you doing eating with them publicans over there? Hey, why'd you go to that taxpayer? Why'd you go to that tax person's house? Matthew, why'd you go to his house? You know you know who he is, right? I remember the story about the Samaritan and all these prominent people. They walk by. So my thing is simply this: I'd much rather see you live the commandments versus you putting it in. Because at the end of the day, I still have kids who can't read. At the end of the day, there are still certain persons who feel like the only way to solve their disputes are through throwing hands, bringing a gun, shooting up. We're talking about Uvalde. Listen, when that thing happened, I tried my best to not even say anything about it. And they kept saying, Lee, you got to say something. You got to say something. I'm like, nah, man, I don't want to say, because I have a personal opinion about it, but I don't want to use my platform to push my personal opinion. They kept messing with me. I said, okay, you want a statement? Here's my statement. At the end of the day, when that person, that father gets up and they go to that bedroom where their little daughter or son was, you think they give a doggone about whether or not you were a Republican or Democrat? All they know is now they got a dead baby who is sitting there and they're crying. They give two things about what party you running under. Mm-hmm. You think when that door was open and that little child was screaming, you think they thought, hey, this is a Democrat doing this is a Republican? They didn't give a darn about that. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we've had way too many shootings out here. And you know why? It's because we're not spending time to talk to each other. You feel like I'm right, so you're so right that you were guilty. And please understand, ladies and gentlemen, I did not and do not agree with Charlie Kirk, but ain't no way in the world I'm finna celebrate. I am not gonna celebrate his death. I'm not celebrating his death, because listen to me, words have power. You celebrate that nonsense, okay, so when it hits your doorstep, you want us to celebrate yours too. I'm very straight to the point. No, I did not agree with Charlie Kirk. But I don't ever want to be shot in front of my baby and my wife. I do not want that to happen. So let's stop the foolishness. Let's talk to one another. If we disagree, okay, let's do it respectfully. Just because you disagree with me does not mean you're my villain. It just means we have a difference of opinions. I've been married 30-some-odd years. I'll say that again. My wife and I, we disagree with one another. But we've been married 30-some-odd years. We got 2 kids. I'm a fresh grandfather. That stuff doesn't happen if I walk away. And sometimes it's hell being married. Let's just be honest there. Though you marry people out there, you know. But you got to work at it. And if United States, if Tarrant County, if Texas is worth fighting for, then fight for it. Fight for it at the ballot. Fight for it. If it's that important, fight. But don't fight with a gun. Fight with a vote.
A pew pew. Yes.
I'm sorry, y'all.
No. I completely. This app, we love the TikTok shop. We do. But yes, this app makes having conversations difficult sometimes. We do have somebody in the box right now who agrees with you wholeheartedly. One heart, one voice in the chat. Hey girl, how's it going?
Hey friend, how are you?
Pretty keen, Jellybean.
How you doing?
It's Sabrina.
Hey, what's going on?
It's Sabrina.
That's my friend.
Yeah, what's going on?
I don't even know. How do I can I turn my camera on? I don't even know how to do this.
I don't know. Rodney, we're going to switch gears for a minute. If you don't mind. We're
Do
going
your
to switch
thing.
gears for a minute and give Sabrina the floor so she can talk to us about activism in your county, which is like, I'm so glad that you came on. We had something else planned, but I love that we're getting the people in Texas together. So amazing. Thank you so much for coming up, Sabrina.
Yeah, I'm glad I checked my messages.
I should just get your phone number so I could text you like,
Right,
"Hey girl."
that's much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
We'll chat.
Wow. So what are we talking about? We're talking about activism, local activism.
We're talking about
Yes.
activism and getting people involved and inspiring people, and especially young people. And eventually, Kim, Kayla, and I are going to talk about getting people to the polls and, transportation, making a plan. But I want to know what you are up to. Like, what activism are you blessing us in this little corner of the world with?
Well, we are planning No Kings right now. I'm doing that with my Indivisible group. Sorry, my dog is choosing to eat dinner right now. And making noise. So, and it's a big protest. So, we're thinking we'll get between 5,000 and 7,000 people in downtown Fort Worth. We really want that to happen. So if you have not gone to nokings.org and signed up, please do, because we need that to happen soon. Just so we can plan and prepare. It's every day, all day, planning that. And then I'm also a House District Coordinator over House District 99, State House District 99, which runs from kind of downtown Fort Worth, across 30, and then all the way up to Azle. And that I help a lot of people in Rodney's area, the precinct chairs. I help them with getting the vote out in their neighborhoods. And right now that's door hangers, and we're also helping Taylor Ramette, and just making sure everybody knows where to go and what to do. So, and that's a lot. I've probably passed out 2,500 door hangers this week, like just packaging them up for my precinct chairs and making sure they understand how to run their lists and know where to go and know where to put the hangers, things like that, getting that all to them. And that's a big district. Like, it takes me over an hour and a half to drive all the way to Azle. So for me to get the hangers out there, we got to work together and make sure everybody has what they need. Sorry.
No worries, it's all good. I've got one of those too. He was barking earlier. So can you tell me, Sabrina, how did you get involved in activism? Like, what was I like to ask people, what was the camel that broke your back, because we're not getting hit with straws right now. We're getting hit with the whole damn camel. What made you decide to get involved?
I was a PTO president for a couple of years, and in my school's PTO, my kids' PTO for 10 years, helping run that. And a PTO is like a PTA with a little bit more autonomy and not a lot of support. And it was just a fundraising machine, constant fundraising machine. And after that, when they were all in middle and I was staring down the barrel of doing that all again in middle, I realized, okay, why? I had to think, why am I doing this? I'm fundraising all the time. I don't get to go to the school events and enjoy them. I'm running the event as well as fundraising. Mm-hmm. And when I sat down and thought about it, it was because my school didn't get enough money. They didn't get the money that I got when I was a kid. Like, my parents weren't raising $25,000. I mean, my school was raising $25,000. The school that my kids were at. But like, when I was a kid, we weren't having to do that. And some of the schools here in Fort Worth raise hundreds of thousands of dollars just to get curriculum, like, because they don't like the curriculum that is offered isn't good. Or we bought a copy machine, of all things, so that we could make copies, and our teachers had access to paper. We bought paper. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So from there, I went to a group called Leadership ISD that advocates for equity in public schools, and I learned a lot there. And that was just kind of dipping my toe in. And that's about the time when all of these extreme right-wingers were coming to school board meetings and raising hell. And that's really what got me activated. Seeing people from Mercy Culture Church and Citizens Defending Freedom and Turning Point USA show up at my school board meeting, that I know they're not Fort Worth ISD taxpayers, and they got sex ed taken away. Our comprehensive sex ed was taken away. That's our Latina birth rates went up, and HIV rates in Tarrant County went up after that. Things like that. I fought a book ban for an entire year, unfortunately, and now there's no books in schools. So it just keeps going. But yeah, that's really, school is what got me activated, public school. And now knowing that my daughter can't start a family here, that's the big deal that really got me activated. Yeah. And my oldest just left the state of Texas. My oldest left the state of Texas to go to college somewhere else because they can't stay here.
There's a lot of people that live in Texas that are absolutely terrified right now. People in the LGBTQ community, people that are immigrants, Latino people, even African American people are all so scared right now about what is happening in this state on a local level. And I want to ask both of you guys, what message would you give to those people?
The message, become a part of the process. You've got to, you have to, and I know I sound like a broken record, you have to vote. Think about this for a minute. And Sabrina, I love Sabrina. I support her 100%.
Me too.
I support Indivisible 100%. No, and I'm not just saying that because she's on. You've heard me say this. But if at the end of the day, you go to the rally, you go to the protest, and you do not vote, we do not win. Do you know how many people died so we could get to this point of being able to efficiently cast our votes? The LGBTQ community, I'm speaking to everybody. If all you're going to do is complain, but you're not going to vote, then guess what? Your non-vote was a vote. Get registered and let's fight. Let's fight. Let's show them you can't do this just because you feel like it. You can withdraw all the lines you want to. But if we vote, because guess what, Tarrant County? We're blue. We're just a voting red state, but we are blue. So get out there and vote.
Definitely. What about you, Sabrina? What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, I tack on to that because I started the Indivisible 12 chapter because I felt like the Tarrant County Democratic Party wasn't getting enough support to get the message across that they needed. I was given the same messaging from precinct to precinct, which doesn't work for like a really poor precinct. I need different messaging for a different precinct. And that's not their fault. They don't have support from national and state, and hopefully that's changing now. But in starting Indivisible, I'm coming across a lot of younger people that want to get engaged, and they don't understand the importance of voting, and they don't understand that they're not going to get a perfect candidate. Like, they have this really high expectation of And to me, my mantra is I will not let perfect be the enemy of the good, because that's where I'm at right now. And a lot of people have a problem with that messaging, that you're voting against the bad candidate. But that's where we are. My congressman in CD12 is not present. He is not present. He went to that Fort Worth Chamber breakfast and he talked about commercial refrigeration.
Yep.
Who gives an F right now about commercial refrigeration? I don't. I care about the cost at the grocery store. I care about my health care. There's a ton of stuff that I care about that's not commercial refrigeration. And he's not holding town halls.
You know what's funny though, when you call him and you say, "Hey, you're not holding town halls. What's up with that?" His staff will sit there on the phone and bold-faced lie to you and say he holds town halls all the time. I'm like, those are paid gigs. Yeah. Those are paid, people pay for a plate to sit there, and that is not how this should work. Like, you're supposed to represent all of us, not just the folks who are funding your campaign, sir. Like,
exactly.
Yeah. Kenneth Morgan Aguilar for Congress.
Yes.
Just saying. Use my platform.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, I think a lot of the younger people have just been beaten down and conditioned to believe that this is how it is, and it's just going to get better someday on its own. Not realizing that they have to get up and actually do it, and maybe stomach a vote that they don't like. And after you get them into office, that's when you go and you hold them accountable for the things that you want them to do.
I often tell people, I remind people that when Barack Obama was brought into office, he was against gay marriage, right? But his stance on that evolved. And every politician is capable of evolution, right? Especially with enough pressure from their constituents. Some aren't, like Craig Goldman's not really, but we're trying, okay? Or at least trying. But every politician can evolve. And that's what I like to tell people when they say, I'm not participating because I hate both of these dudes. Like, that's not the answer, right?
No.
Like, your choices for dinner are chicken or fish. You can't order a cheeseburger.
Or just starve.
Right.
Now they're just starving.
Yeah. So, I get it.
Yeah.
Here's a strategy. And let me say again, I do not agree with anything that he said. But there was a strategy that he used, and I was like, I told my staff, we're going to do this. Charlie Kirk went to colleges, and he spoke to them. I told my staff, look, this is what we're going to do. We started with TCC. We reached over 100 plus students that came by, talked to them. Now, yes, I had donuts and, whatever. I ran out of that in the last 3 hours, but I was there for almost 8 hours. I just went and talked to them. I said, what's on your mind? With doing that, I got a casual invite, which I'm going to pursue, to possibly do it at TCU and do it at the other Tarrant County colleges. I have full intention on doing that. Why? Because you're not coming to me, so I'm going to come to you. And by going to them, I demonstrate who's important.
And so many of them have just lost interest with everything. All of the camels that we're being hit with. So many people are just checking out, So I think it's really important that we go to them. So I thank you for doing that. And I hope that you will. And I hope that you'll take videos and put them on your social media so that we can boost them for you. So
I'm learning to do that. I wish I would have did that at first one. I'm learning this whole social media process. Now I'm learning.
Eventually, you're going to have a campaign manager and you're going to have a social media manager who's going to do all of that stuff for you. So, that's going to be super fun. I love that for you. It's going to be great. Yeah. Awesome. So, Kayla, I would like to do a little shout out to a little reminder for everybody in the chat here to make a plan to vote. Right? Today was the last day to register in Texas to be active in the competition, so to speak. But I would like to kind of touch up on the options for you guys have to organize your transportation. Like, you got to think about these things, right? Not only do you got to go to vote.gov to make sure you are still on the voter rolls, make sure that you are still listed to participate, make a plan to be there, show up, encourage your friends to show up. If you don't have a ride, there are options available for you. For example, there's a bunch of national rideshare companies like Uber and Lyft who offer discounts on voting days to get to and from your polling locations. There's also a bunch of nonprofit options as well. Rideshare to Vote is one of them. Check your public transit. A lot of times, if there are options for public transit, they will offer free transportation for your polling location. And if you have questions about that, please reach out and let us know. I've got tons of resources. I'm more than happy to help you try to figure out how to get you there. Okay, that's so important, especially here in Texas, where we have a government that doesn't represent the people right now. And we are responsible for changing that. The patch on my vest says what you will allow is what will continue. And we have to be the change that we want to see. We have to be the ones that make that happen. We're not going to do it by, boycotting a organization, or we're not going to do that by, as much as I love going to scream in the streets, we're not going to make a bunch of change by screaming in the streets. We're going to make a bunch of change by going to the polling locations and putting our vote behind our voice. So, not to say that that's not important, but
can I piggyback on what you just said?
Absolutely.
And I know it sounds like I'm plugging.
Plug away, man.
I don't want us to lose the strategy. Listen, guys, those who are looking at me, listen. 5,000 people showing up in a place and saying, hey, we're not with this. Think if after we get through with Indivisible, and again, I'm a judicial official, so I'm not endorsing anything. I'm just saying, hey, this is a strategy. So let's say we get 5,000 people there, and they're pissed off about whatever they're pissed off about. Those 5,000 people say, you know what, forget this. I'm going to go get 2 or 3 more people. That increases. But now, we don't stop there. Now I'm going to take those people and we're going to march our butts to the polls. Guess what will happen? Those people who said, oh no, this is the way it is and this is how it's going to be, watch and see what happens. All of a sudden, they're going to have an epiphany. Oh, I just rethought this. You know what just happened? Because they knew you were serious. Right now, what they feel like, because there's a person down, I don't want to name his name, I'll let Sabrina name, but anyway, there's a person right now, the whole goal is to do one thing, put a certain people in office. You know why he's saying that? Because he thinks all you're going to do is cry about it. You're not going to show up to the polls. So I'm saying to you, go to Indivisible. Hey, get out there, yell, scream, march, bring your signs, do it all. And when you finish, have a plan that says, hey, guess what, guys? Now we're going to march our butts down to the polls and watch what happens. There are going to be plenty of people who are going to have an epiphany that says, I used to think this way, but now I feel this way. And guess who made them change? So, do it all. Don't be one-dimensional. Do it all. So thank you for bringing that to us, Jess. I appreciate it. But we got to do it all.
We gotta do
We're
it
fighting.
all.
And we're going to have it all at this protest. We have voter registration. I know it's late for this election, but we'll have voter registration.
Next time.
We'll have
Next time.
information on the constitutional amendments. We have several tables. Like, maybe you're not interested in the Democratic Party, but we'll have the Democratic Party. We've got a group called the Forward Party. We have the Democratic Socialist of America. We have other groups that are coming that can tell you how to get plugged in. And we have some mutual aid groups coming. So, like, if you just need support and you need help, we've got a couple of those coming. And just listen to the speakers and learn how to get plugged in. That's the point. That's what we try to do at our protests. Is it's not just about marching in the streets, but I will say we're getting close to that 3.5% that we need to fight an authoritarian breakthrough. We got close in June, and it says a lot when someone who's on the fence, who's unhappy right now, maybe they voted for this, but aren't happy right now, and they see pictures of 10,000 people marching through the streets of Fort Worth, Texas, and they go, oh, maybe I'm not by myself. Maybe I'm not feeling this on my own.
I was gonna point that out. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've driven under a bridge where you guys have been, and I'm like, I feel so, like, you see me. I'm not alone. Like, it's such a comfort. Like, I didn't come from a red state. I came from a very, very, very blue state. And when I moved here, I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? But knowing that there are people out here who care about other people makes such a huge difference. And for both of you guys, I just cannot thank you enough for getting involved, making change for the people, and working your butts off to make things better, not just for us, but for our kids. And that makes such a huge difference. And we're not going to stop fighting. So I thank you guys so much.
Absolutely not. Thank you.
Is there anything else that you guys wanted to add before we get into our closing?
We'll be on the bridges in the morning. We do it every Tuesday morning. And we have a new bridge on the south side in Fort Worth that we're launching tomorrow that I'm excited about. That one runs north and south, so I don't have to contend with the sun.
Oh, fabulous.
And higher traffic. So I'm excited. Bringing up the bridges, we try to put messages on the bridges that I think most people have common ground on.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of one finger waves.
Oh, sure.
But we get a lot
fist.
of support. Yeah, we get a lot of like honks and excited people, and I love to see what's happening on Reddit, and it's a lot of fun.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think it's going to be a great time. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be amazing. And I want to thank you guys both for coming up today. Thank you so much, Sabrina. I know it was last minute, but I thank you so much for coming up. Kayla, did you have anything you wanted to add about voter access?
Sure. I had a big spiel, but I'm glad someone else came up and talked about their activism. I love that. A lot of pressure off of me.
Yeah.
But right now in the landscape that we have, which I'm calling authoritarianism, me and my ibuprofen that Trump can't say, but anyway. So one of the most powerful weapon we have against that, it fits in your palm of your hand, and that's your vote. So make sure you guys are using that power and going out so that we can be the change that we need for this country, for your local people, for your state, for the country. We need everyone to go out there, because in the 2000 election down in Florida, it was only won by 537 votes. So with those numbers, 1 out of 5 people are what are directing this country. So 1 person votes and 4 don't. So you all want to like just depend on that 1 person to make a decision for you. So everyone needs to get out and vote. There's so many websites that will help you. You can always reach out to me and Jess and we'll help. And make sure that you are reaching out to your homebound neighbors so that they are getting registered and getting out to vote too, because their vote could be the change. But thank you guys for all coming and hanging out. I love listening to Rodney. He's just like Andy Griffith out in Mayberry. That's totally the vibe I got before he even said that. So I appreciate everyone hanging out and supporting our grassroots, and make sure that you're going in and supporting these candidates by donating even $1, because if you want to keep that money and APEC money out of politics, we need to go in there and we have to step up and we have to support them. So everyone, just $1 will do. If everyone was to donate $1, it would make a big change for these people. So go out and vote.
Thank you so much, Kayla. Yes, here. In fact, I have a button for that. Hang on. Yes. Okay, fabulous. We are just about ready to wrap things up. But before we go, Mr. Lee, would you mind telling the good folks how to get involved and how they can support your run?
Yes, thank you for doing that. So,
of course,
to get involved with me is real simple. It's Rodney Lee for JOP.com. I said to people, that sounds like a rap song. Rodney Lee for JOP. I did that because I want to make it simple. So you go to my website, and there are all the ways to get involved. Look, I need volunteers, guys, just honestly. And I'm speaking to you young people. I was just thinking, I went to ChatGPT, the latest, greatest thing ever, and I said, what should I do? Because look, guys, I'm a dinosaur. I'm the flip phone dude, so I love my flip phone. I have a flip phone now, but I loved it. I'm still learning this. So if you're watching me or you know some young person, look, I can get as silly as I need to be, but I want to know how to connect with you all. What's the language? Come on, teach an old guy. I'm not trying to be the coolest old man. I just want to know what are you concerned about? How can I make what I'm doing relevant to you? So you can also email me, and please know I'm going to respond. It's Rodney Lee for JOP@gmail.com. I really want to hear from you all. I really do. Because it's justice for all, not for some. So if you have a great idea, don't keep it. Come on, share it. I need to know. Help me out. Okay? Appreciate
or reach him on TikTok, because it's right there. We're going to force him to be that social media mongrel.
Yep.
TikTok is what.
We'll get you there. Don't worry. Yeah, I think that's great, and I think it's really funny how we were all radicalized by the Pledge of Allegiance as kids, right? Like we stood in the elementary school, put our hand over our hearts, and we said, "With liberty and justice for all." And now all of a sudden, everybody's mad because we're demanding justice, liberty, and justice for all. It's so crazy to me how that happens. So I digress. Tangent, sorry. This is just a reminder, everybody. We all know it's no secret how we all feel about big money in politics, and we want candidates like Rodney here who are going to serve the people, who have a servant's heart and a servant's soul, and they want to just help people. But that money has to come from somewhere. So whether it's your wallet or your time or your talents, even just going to Rodney's TikTok page and giving him a follow and sharing out his live is going to make his videos, that's going to make all the difference and gets more eyes on him and gets more opportunities for him to grow his campaign. So I would encourage you all to do that. The time for change is right now. We have to work together and go buy Rodney a cup of coffee, right? Or five cups of coffee would be great. Coffee's great. I love coffee. I would be absolutely remiss if I did not send a special thank you to our amazing design genie, the K-Law, our honey badger of moderators. We'll get the script down eventually. I'm not, no pressure here. Please send Kayla and our candidates and Sabrina from Indivisible 12. Thank you so much for coming. Send them all some love in the chat. Make sure to follow them and share out their content. Also, make sure you're still registered to vote and keep an eye on your election schedules in your area. You can check out your voter registration by going to vote.gov, and there's all kinds of cool things that are happening with the elections, especially here locally, coming up.
Hey,
Sabrina knows all about that. Yes.
There's one in Tennessee that one of our followers was telling us about. So if you're in Tennessee, make sure that it's TN07. It was Neil who was reminding us. So if you guys are in Tennessee, make sure you hit that special election tomorrow.
Oh, there's a special election tomorrow. Okay, got it. Excellent. Very important. Tennessee, you're up. This was amazing. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time out of, and everybody in the chat as well. Thank you so much for taking time out today to meet this amazing man running for Justice of the Peace. Your election isn't until next year, am I right?
My election's in November 2026. Yes. General, the primary is in March. So let's send a message, guys. Let's send a message that we're for real. Show up for me. I'm gonna show up for you.
I love that, and I fully support that. I'm not somebody who can vote for you, but I have friends who can. So, we'll be sharing out your message as much as we humanly can around here. This was incredibly inspiring, but I want to remind people, we have a lot of people who are very, very scared right now. And I want to remind you that the fear is the point. They want you to be scared. If you are scared, you will panic. And if you are panicked, you will not do anything. Fear leads to panic. Panic leads to inaction. But hope and community are the antidote for all of it. So stay involved and talk to your neighbors, okay? On, what day is it? Today is Monday. On Friday, oh my gosh, I'm like, what day is it? What day is today? On Friday, we will talk to a mom in Texas about mom life with a Y, like why? We'll talk to her about fashion and why this moment matters. Sabrina, you are welcome to come back. I believe that this woman, Allison Mitchell, may be one of the people that you'll be supporting. She's running for House in Texas here, so it's going to be fantastic. I hope you all will join us. I thank you all so much for being here with us tonight. Thank you, Rodney. Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you, Kayla. And I hope you all have a fantastic evening. Please follow us on all of the things and catch us on Friday for another fabulous episode. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.